was getting on my
Hello,
nerves.
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to It's All a Work. Today it is just myself, Big T, and over to my left, to my right, I don't know orientations, HangyMangy. We are going to be bringing you the review of Raw here today, and a little bit of news. Actually, a decent amount of news has happened since our last podcast, G, like a good amount.
Yeah, decent amount, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be going over all of the good stuff. And it might be a long one, it might not be a long one, who knows? Obviously, it's Wednesday. Normally, we do not stream on Wednesdays. Normally, we stream on Thursdays. But because we work for people who do not care about our outside lives of work, we are here on Wednesday, still dedicated to the news, still dedicated to the reviews. Hangy, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, Raw Monday, we're in Houston, Texas. WWE seems to have a hard-on for Texas the past 3 weeks-ish, ever since they came back from Elimination Chamber.
Trying to get them tall hats, that's all, you know.
I don't know what they're
Cole
trying to do.
had the horns.
Whatever.
Trying to get them hats.
So, we enter... the camera starts out with, we're seeing Travis Scott show up at Raw. He's greeted by Jey Uso. Apparently Travis Scott is a rapper.
Yep, yeah, he's a very, 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 very famous rapper.
Okay, so
he has some good hits. Not 100% fan, but you know, yeah, all right.
Nah, whatever. So yeah, he's there. And then more importantly, we see Gunther arriving to Raw, and Michael Cole reminds us that there's going to be a Gauntlet match tonight. Obviously, that's the big match at the end of the night. A lot to unpack in this Raw. As far as like there was some good meat in Raw on Monday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good meat.
Well, I don't know a better way to say it. Good information, good storytelling. Is whatever happened, it was good. So we're gonna start out with the Drew McIntyre segment. Drew McIntyre comes out to the ring. He's gonna cut a promo. Basically, it's all on Seth Rollins, a little bit on CM Punk. He comes out. He says, Seth, he's a delusional, selfish, hypocrite junkie, and he couldn't stop himself from getting that fix and coming out last week. He paid for it with a Claymore kick. While this is happening, the fans keep saying what to him in between all of his sentence breaks. So he says, "Say what if you're glad I took out CM Punk." A lot of people said what, because when you're in that arena, we're all sheep. It is what it is.
Sheep.
He says that he expects a handwritten note from CM Punk because he's the only thing keeping CM Punk relevant nowadays.
I mean, is he wrong though? Because CM Punk hasn't been on screen.
He's not wrong.
Dang,
he's not wrong.
Truth teller.
So I really like the truth teller gig or gimmick that Drew McIntyre has right now. So in this promo, he goes through like the evolution of wrestling, saying, we started in carnivals, and we went to the armories, and then we went to, selling out arenas, and then social media, and he says that the next logical evolution of wrestling was partnering with the biggest name in professional entertainment, which is The Rock. He says that Cody promised The Rock a match. He took it away, and then he insulted his family, so he understands why The Rock would be upset with Cody, right? He said he understands it, and Drew starts talking about Rollins, and of course, because that happened, Rollins is legally, I believe, obligated to come out to the ring.
It's obligated. Yep.
So Rollins heads out to the ring, and he says that, that Claymore almost got his full attention last week, and he said that one more should get his full attention, one more should do it, and he says, "Come on, right here, come on and do it." He actually gets on his knees, and he says, come on, man, just one free shot. Just do it. And he says, wait a minute, hold on. I remember you're a coward. And he gets up, he goes towards the turnbuckle, and he turns his back on Drew McIntyre. And he says, come on, man, just do it. As the crowd starts singing Seth Rollins' song. Mm-hmm. And Drew says that, he says, before things start getting any weirder, he wants to thank Seth Rollins for giving him the advice to get over the bloodline, but he also said that Seth won't take his own advice to get over the bloodline, because he keeps having to get involved every week with every bloodline thing. Seth has to be there. You know, Seth says that he hasn't worried about Drew that much because the same thing is going to happen that always happens when they face each other one-on-one in the ring, and that is him getting his head stomped into the mat, pinning his shoulders down, and the last thing that he's going to see at WrestleMania is Seth Rollins' fans singing his song. Obviously, fans start singing his song again. Drew tells Seth that he knows that he's trying to get him wound up so that he'll attack him and drop him on the mat, but it isn't going to work because he has to face Seth at WrestleMania and he has to win the title, and he gets out of the ring. While he's walking up the ramp, Seth says, you know, on my list of threats, you're the one at the very, very bottom. He says all of the threats, the bloodline and, you know, my hurt leg and my broken back, you're way down here, and that's why I haven't been paying any attention to you at all. So with that, Drew turns around and he gets up on the ring apron. He has his hand on that top rope, and he ultimately decides that he's not going to do it. And he walks up the ramp, and that's it. It was a 15-minute segment, and they said so much. They actually accomplished so much in 15 minutes, so much more than the Bloodline accomplished or even The Rock accomplished on Instagram in a 26-minute promo.
40-minute segment, 26-minute promo. That is literally an hour of saying the same thing.
Yeah,
so crazy.
What did you think of this promo? Like, I mean, they really did kind of push it. And they, like, as far as the storytelling, they really did push it, and I guess they're really laying the story out for us now, right? Or at least they're making us think of what the logical avenue is. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it seems like the writing's on the wall, you know? I mean, from my perspective, it's showing Seth isn't really paying attention, and that's going to be his downfall. That is going to truly be his downfall. Drew's focus, he's laser focused, telling the truth, giving him knowledge, and Seth is just out here being weird, getting called a cross-dresser, and getting on his knees, saying he wants to take shots and turning his back, and I don't know. Drew wasn't lying there. It was getting weird.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he really is underestimating Drew, which is a very, very, very bad idea. And I think it actually might result in Rollins losing the belt. I don't know where Rollins goes after this, but I don't know. It's very interesting to see. Very, very interesting to see.
I think it depends on what happens with Cody versus Roman, because if things get either way, I feel like Seth is still going to be dealing with the bloodline, because it's not over with yet.
Always, yeah. So unless he like goes heel, yeah, it's always going to be a thing. He's always going to be somehow intertwined with them. So the camera's going to switch to Damage Control arriving in the back, and Michael Cole reminds us that there's a title match that no one cares about later on. Which obviously we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Chad Gable then gets a vignette for the Gauntlet match. Now, this is actually very important because he's the only person throughout the entire match that gets a vignette by himself. Outside of Sami, who actually gets an interview by himself, Chad's the only one who gets a vignette by himself, and I think that's a big deal. And we'll talk about that later on when we go over the match and how we feel about it and all that kind of stuff. But that's very important to hold on to. I believe we go to a commercial, I think, and then we come back, and then we've got Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. In my opinion, match of the night.
It was a good match. It was a very good match.
I understand that is my opinion. Took a lot of notes on it because again, they told so Seth and Drew told a very good story with their mouths, and then you have Becky and Liv who told a very good story with their bodies. And with the things that they were doing. So I have a lot of notes on this one as well. So we're going to go ahead and go through it. Anyone who, obviously, if you have anything to chime in with, please chime in during the match. Or even if I'm explaining it, I'll stop and we'll talk. G, same thing for you. Like I said, there's about a half a page of notes here. So let's do it. So your match starts off as a match where you can really actually feel that it's a grudge match. That's also really important. You can feel that they were pissed off at each other, right? So they do a lot of pushing and pie facing and slapping to start off, and then they start with the general wrestling maneuver build up, and then they kind of move to the outside, or Becky, I should say, gets dumped to the outside, and Liv hits a suicide dive. And we go to a commercial break. When we come back, Liv is in control and hits a series of kicks, ending in an enziguri. She does a kip up. She misses an attack. She misses with an attack. Sometimes I type so fast my notes mess me up. Either way, Becky ends up in the corner and takes control. To a series of Bexploders until Liv kind of rolls out of the ring. So I think Becky hits 2 Bexploders and Liv gets out of the ring. Becky then hits a few more moves on the outside, puts Liv in the ring. As Becky goes to the top rope, she jumps off for a flying forearm, and Liv counters with a code breaker that leaves both women lying in the ring. They work their way back up, and Liv gets the upper hand with a spinning code breaker off the second rope, which was fantastic. They then work to the apron and do a series of reverses, and Liv hits a sunset flip powerbomb to Becky from the apron to the floor. At this point, the fans are really digging it. We get a "This is awesome" chant, which I believe was the only one of the night. They work to camera side, the camera side of the ring. So the side that would be closest. And Becky hits a manhandle slam, and Liv rolls out, and we get a commercial break. She rolls out to save herself, basically. We come back from the commercial break. They are trading off pin attempts, basically. And then go to submissions, and then back to pins. This ends up being broken up by a devastating DDT to Becky from Liv. Liv then hits the Oblivion, and Becky rolls out of the ring. So now they're trading off, kind of finishers and rollouts. They work back into the ring and do another series of counters. Liv goes for a high-risk maneuver, and Becky counters into the manhandle slam. Becky wins the match, ultimately, with the manhandle slam. They nod to each other in respect as Liv leaves the ring. While Liv is leaving, Rhea's music hits, and when she passes Liv has this little ball of energy inside of her, and all of a sudden that kind of kips up, and she says that wait, what? For her family, and to see if she still has it. She knows the real reason. Oh, wait, no. There it is. I'm sorry. I went a thing ahead. As she's leaving, Rhea's music hits and passes Liv, and Liv says, "You took everything from me, and everything you have will be mine." So we're probably going to do that match. I would
eventually, probably.
Whether Rhea wins or loses, I would assume that's going to be a part of the Liv
Redemption Club.
Redemption
Tour.
Payback or Revenge. The Live Revenge Tour.
Revenge Tour.
So Rhea congratulates Becky on her win and says that she keeps leaving everything in the ring, and while she says she's doing it for her family and to see if she still has it, she knows the real reason she's taking all of these matches is because Becky knows that she can't beat her. Rhea says that if Becky doesn't come to Mania at 100%, she will not leave the man, but she'll leave as a disappointment. Becky said that when people are behind her, she's good, but when people doubt her, she's great. And if it's her versus the world doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah. Got a comment. Squirrels says, almost felt like it's setting up for a three-way. Which I tend to agree. Because depending on if Becky or Rhea wins, I feel like somebody's going to have to defend the title against either one, and then that's going to make way for Liv to get it as a trio, as a triple threat.
Yeah, I was pondering that it would be a triple threat. It's just, I don't know. I don't think they'll make it a triple threat at all on WrestleMania. Yeah, just like what Squirrels is saying is Backlash. I maybe they'll do a triple threat. Maybe they'll let Liv have her grudge match against Rhea. I really don't know which way it's going to go. Either way, I just want to see more of Liv, because Liv and Becky tore the house down, and all three of those women are absolutely fantastic at what they do.
Yep.
And them in a triple threat would beat any match that they could potentially put on the card.
For more reasons than a lot.
You throw Charlotte Flair in there, then you got a 5-star match. I like what Charlotte can do in the ring. A lot of people don't like it, but her being as tall as she is and all of her technical skill, I love it. I love Charlotte Flair.
I'd rather have Tiffy time.
You and me both. As a matter of fact, in WWE 2K24, in GM mode, I actually drafted Tiffany Stratton to my brand.
Shocker there. No shocker there.
So I drafted her to my brand, and I made her and Alexa Bliss the tag champs. And they lost the tag team championships the first damn time they put them on the line. It was awful. They do Tiffany dirty in that game. Anyway, so we're going to move on to our Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce segment. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, well, the thing is that we thought there was going to be some kind of big match. Like, we thought it was going to be multiple teams. Like, we speculated that. We've speculated that for a couple weeks, but we didn't know it was going to be anything like this. So the announcement is that the Judgment Day will defend their titles in a 6-pack ladder match. We go to the Judgment Day in the back, and Priest is they're all pretty much pissed off. And he says, but Priest says, I haven't had a problem with either GM until right now. Let's go have a talk with them. And they all storm off to go have a talk with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. Damn, what a like I don't like that right there. I mean, right there, in my opinion, that's going to be the match of the night. Like, anytime you have ladders and multiple tag teams, you're having. I mean, we're talking about tables. We're talking about everything. It's not just going to be a ladder.
Everything.
You know that.
Man, and it's going to be such a spectacle because we know the Judgment Day is not coming back with them titles.
No.
There's no way.
So I heard some speculation online that I thought was very interesting. Someone told me that this is how they're going to break the championships up so they go back to their respective brands. That a SmackDown team is going to grab their belts and that a Raw team is going to grab the Raw belts. And that they're going to go back to their specific brands. So I thought that was very, very interesting. I think it would be a very interesting and actually a very good way to break them up, to break up the titles. I mean, some people are also speculating that the Hardys are free agents, so they're coming back. I don't think that's the case.
That's a stretch and a half.
Yeah, I mean, right now they are free agents. They can go wherever they want to go, but I don't see the Hardys coming back. I really don't.
I don't see them not that fast. I mean, I love the Hardys, and you know what? Cool, awesome. I just don't see it.
Yep. And so we're gonna move on now to the worst placed match of the evening, in my opinion. Jeff will never be in WWE again. Yeah, you're probably right. His history of drug abuse and stuff, he's proved that he can't be trusted. It just is what it is, unfortunately.
Right.
So, Maxxine Dupree and Nile versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae.
Wow.
Terrible placement. Should not have followed Becky in Liv, in my opinion. So I wrote nothing spectacular in this match except for the Candice LeRae heel turn. I mean, let's be honest, it's the only reason the match happened. Maxxine, what's that?
No, I was gonna say it's the only reason that match is getting any buzz. Just what she said to Maxxine is wild. Like, regardless if it's scripted or not, like, I mean, we know it's scripted, but it's still kind of wild, and that's what everybody's talking about.
Yeah. WWE has really gone hard on the things that you shouldn't say, I guess. So basically, so what we're talking about, for anybody who didn't see it, what we're talking about is Maxxine. So Maxxine pulled off some good moves in the ring, and then she was getting ready to go for the reverse caterpillar, basically. And she gets all the way to Indy, and Candice gets in Maxxine's face and says, you know, you're going to try to pull that move on us. Are you serious? You don't belong here. You know, the fans hate you. The people in the back hate you. If you think it's bad what they say on social media about you, you should see what they say, or what you should hear what the girls say in the back. You know, and then she hits her with the line, it's a good thing that your brother is dead so he's not here to see what a disappointment you've become. When that line is said, Maxxine then says, I'm not doing this, starts to walk out of the ring, and she's hit with Indy Hartwell's gigantic leg that's attached to her foot. And
that lady is all legs, just chest and legs. There's no abdomen, just leg.
Yeah, so she's built quite the way. So anyway, she big boots Maxxine. I haven't seen a match end with a big boot in years, probably since Kevin Nash did one. And Indy Hartwell pins Maxxine. You know, it did make Candice look like an asshole. It did succeed straight in that, asshole. Definitely. It was good for storytelling. It just wasn't timed correctly. And I know that, you know, Triple H always says start on a high, the mid cards are low, and then you end on a high. But man, that match was a low. But the match was a low. The match was a low. However, the content inside of the match it gave it a boost. Because I mean, there hasn't been this much hype for people not fighting in the ring for a while. Correct. And also we have to look at it this way. Every week we get on here and we get to the women's tag team segment, or our women's division as a tag team. We always say we want more development. We want better women's tag teams. There's no one that is credible to go against Kabuki Warriors, and all of that is true. And you've got to start somewhere. And so we have a story now. Hopefully it doesn't end with Candice and Indy breaking up, because then we've just lost another tag team. But but now we have a story where Candice is being an asshole. Indy's like trying to stop her. Does Indy do a full heel turn? I freaking hope so, because I don't want them to be broken up, because they have good potential. So we are moving forward with women's tag wrestling a little bit, and while I thought this match sucked, what they were trying to accomplish, they accomplished. And I'll leave it there, I guess. And yeah, ever since seeing the Rock promos have brought in a lot of real life comments. I think the Rock getting going off script a little bit, I think has helped. Also, Rock being with TKO, I think has helped a lot as well. Yeah. Or being on the board at TKO, I should say. So then we get Cody Rhodes arriving in his tour bus. A picture of his dog is on the bus now. What's his name? Shithead.
Shaheed.
All right, so then we're gonna go to the Judgment Day, going and complaining about the match that was made and demands to know who made it. Nick and Adam. Well, first Nick was like, I don't know if you want to know that, but it comes out that R-Truth and the Miz, it was their idea, and the Judgment Day say they want them in a match tonight. Adam says that's impossible because they're out doing promotional stuff, social media kind of promotional stuff. And Q, R-Truth coming in, and he says, "Yo, what's up, y'all?" And Adam says, "Why are you here? And why are you not doing media right now?" And R-Truth says, "Oh, no, dog, that's on Monday." Adam says, "It is Monday." And Truth says, "Oh, that's my bad. I guess that's why the Miz isn't here."
Yeah.
And Priest gets in his face and says, "Yeah, that's why he's not here." And then he says, "Adam, make the match." And so we're going to do that match later on. Again, R-Truth is a treasure, and people do not treat him the way that he needs to be treated. I mean, like, his role is fantastic, but man, I just want to see him. I mean, I don't know, it's building. I just want to see him in a title match.
It's building, yeah.
I don't even care if he wins the title match. I just want to see him in one. Which I guess he will be in one, because there's no way that the Awesome Truth isn't winning their match and going to be in the WrestleMania match. So
that's true. Yeah, they have to be in the match.
So we'll probably see them see him in a title match. Anyway, then we have the Cody and Michael Cole interview. So this is an interview that's actually out in the ring. Michael Cole is sitting in the ring with chairs. Call Cody out. He takes forever to get to the ring, as always. Then they recap. Beforehand, they recap what happened on Friday and all the hype with Cody and The Rock. Michael's first question is, why did you slap The Rock? Cody says that he's not sure. He says The Rock is your boss. Why did you slap The Rock?
Right. He's a member. He's a head of a board, a member on the board. Right. He's your boss. Why'd you slap him?
Right. And Cody says, he's like, first of all, I'm not so sure The Rock is my boss, but if he is, it feels good to slap your boss. I don't know that feeling, but maybe I will one day.
Man, wait. Wait. Relax.
So anyway, he also says that it was him giving The Rock a receipt. Michael asks, why would you accept the match on night one? Why would you let Seth accept the match for you? And how can you trust Seth Rollins? He does a bunch of different things here, but basically Cody says people can change. And he cites him and Triple H being good friends, him teaming with Jey Uso, and then he cites Michael Cole being in the Plexi box back in the day in like 2012, back in the days that I didn't even watch anymore because wrestling was just terrible back then.
Oh, it was a tough time, man. It was tough times, brother.
He also says that if he had to go to war with anyone, it would be Seth, and that it's the only way he sees there potentially being a fair fight with Roman on night 2. Oh, God, excuse me. And then Cody then transitions and basically asks himself the third question through Michael Cole last year, right? He says, I would like to answer the question that you asked last year, which was, is your story going to be that he made it to WrestleMania and lost, essentially? Like, there was other things in there, but won the Rumble, won the tag champs, whatever, then you went to WrestleMania and you lost. Is that going to be your story? Cody gets very emotional, and he says that, his mom is the only one he has left, and he says that he can't hand the title to Dusty, but he can sure as hell hand the title to her. He gets emotional talking about Brandy, saying that she was the only one that believed in him at a time where he was wearing, a silly mask and all this kind of crap, harkening back to not his Stardust days, but the remarkable
Undashing Cody.
What is
No,
it?
undashing.
Undashing Cody Rhodes. That's what it is.
Undashing, yeah. It's rough times. WWE was on rough times then.
Right, and he said WrestleMania Night 2, Michael will be able to say for the first time that a Rhodes has won the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, Universal, all those words, and that Cody has finished his story. Good promo. Again, it's one of those things. The Bloodline and Cody right now, like, that's so solid that I don't need to see them anymore until WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm ready for WrestleMania. Like, there's nothing left to say.
Like, I don't know how they can make it worse. We all are, like, when I say worse, I mean better. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you know, Hulk Hogan ran over The Rock in a car with a semi-truck, you know, to amp their match up. We're not going to see that happen here. I think it's hyped up as much as it can be. So now we're just kind of blowing air for 2 weeks until we get to it. You know what I mean?
The only way it'll get even better is if they flip the script somehow. Like something changes, or you know, something dramatic happens. There's a new character to the story, or you know, somebody does a turn, which again would be weird, but it's happened. You know, and that's the only thing I can think of that would hype this up even more. Now, my question to you is, do you think those were real tears from Cody Rhodes?
I mean, his voice broke. Well, it depends. If he was riffing, if it wasn't written for him, then probably. But if it was written for him, he probably added the tears. It was probably fake.
Yeah.
So it just depends on either way you want to go. Now, do they give Cody enough creative control to do his own promos? Who knows?
I think they do. Like, I ain't gonna lie, those felt like real tears. Like, you know, there's acting, but then there's ugly crying. Cody hit that niche of ugly crying just a little bit, and I was like, "Yo, I felt that a little bit."
Yeah, I felt
now unless he
was definitely
unless he's an Oscar winner, unless he's a freaking Oscar winner. Hey, good on him. But yeah, that felt real. That felt a little real right there.
I agree. I do agree. So Squirrel says Bayley and Banks need to be tag champs again. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen for a while. Banks is officially...
We got news on Banks.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and let them know, G.
So, Mercedes Moné is officially signed to AEW.
No.
She just appeared on their Dynamite show tonight. I think it's Dynamite. Could be another one. But yeah, loud pop, one of the loudest pops in a while for AEW. Yeah, I mean, Squirrel says boo. I get it, but she says she's not done with WWE, so there is a possibility of, you know, a comeback. Just not right now. Yeah, unfortunately.
Plus, Sasha has a history of walking out of corporations, so I'm assuming that she will walk out of AEW at some point when she doesn't get what she wants, and she'll cry about it, and then she'll go to WWE after no one wants to work with her again. So, it'll happen. And that's not me having some kind of mean grudge against Sasha Banks. I'm just reporting the facts, people. It's happening.
What other company has she walked out of?
WWE, twice.
Twice?
Yes. The rumors of her and Bayley, the rumors about her and Bayley were true. Like, the whole, like, them laying on the floor at Mania and that bull crap, that wasn't true. But Sasha was the catalyst of the complaining when they were going to lose their tag champs. And then with Naomi and Sasha, you know, they both walked out. So Naomi has that history too, but, I mean, it's basically if she doesn't get what she wants, she leaves. And the thing is the other companies that she's gone to, of course you're going to give her whatever she wants if you can do it. Like, if you're New Japan, or if you're something that's not as big as the WWE, like, of course you're going to give her whatever, because that gives you clout. She's bigger than any other company except for the WWE. She's not bigger than WWE, and that was the problem. She thought she was, and she left. Again, I'm not. These aren't sour grapes, as CM Punk would say. I like Sasha Banks, but I'm just saying that's the truth.
I don't know. That grape sounded a little sour in there. I was a little upset.
I would rather have her on WWE, definitely. Yeah. But you know, she'll be there again one day. And we'll be reporting it because we're not going anywhere. We're not walking out on you. Anyway, look, next. JD and Ricochet now have their vignette for the Gauntlet match back to back. Again, in my opinion, this is important, but we'll keep going.
Okay, who's important? Because JD's not important.
JD isn't important at all.
JD is not important. I'm sorry. He's outside of Judgment Day. He could be probably a decent wrestler. Just fine.
Do you know why? Do you know why I don't like JD? I was thinking about it when I was watching Raw.
Why is that?
This is the one time in my life that I will admit this. I'm actually jealous of that motherfucker.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because that dude ain't got no skills, and I look better than he does. I'm better looking than him. And look at him. Look at him following his dreams. Look at this guy. So, yeah, I don't like him. Screw him. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. After the commercial, after the vignettes, there's a commercial. After that commercial, Liv is sitting and mourning her loss. Becky comes up and shakes Liv's hand, and Nia just demolishes them.
Just out of nowhere, just like, I'm gonna bulldoze these two. Like, and who's gonna stop her? She's a bulldozer.
The thing that I love is that it literally was like a juggernaut thing, because you like heard her coming from outside the camera view. All you heard was just like boom, done. Let's see. What did he say? I'm going to allow that because that's not bullying. Apparently Squirrels was bullying people because he said someone looked like somebody. That's hilarious. Anyway, it's in the chat now. So yeah, Nia beat the hell out of him. Throws Liv on a rolling cart, puts Becky through a table. We're either going to do a handicap match or a triple threat match. We're going to do something with this. I think it'd be really interesting to see a triple threat match between those three and then Becky come out on top. Obviously, and I didn't talk about this beforehand, Becky going over Liv was the right choice. Had to happen. Becky is the champion, and it did not make Liv look weak. They both looked equally as strong, and it looked like Becky just kind of pinched out or whatever, scraped out, whatever you want to call it, the upper hand and won. That's another reason why it was a very good match. So now we're going to move on to the Kabuki Warriors with Damage Control at ringside versus Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark. Was an okay match. It's the best I'll give it. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do for WrestleMania now. I mean, that was a WrestleMania match. Who else are they going to go against?
That's a fair point. They'll probably just be at WrestleMania, you know, for backup against Bayley, which, but I don't see it. I don't see a match.
Yeah. Hopefully they come up with one. They got 2 weeks to figure it out, so we'll see. So let's see. Yeah, Kabuki Warriors, Damage Control. With Shayna versus Shayna and Zoey. Samantha's actually in the middle of the ring for this one to officially announce the title match. They do some kind of like weird cartoon filter or something when they walk forward. I thought it was kind of cool. I felt like it was worth mentioning. We start out with Zoey and Asuka. Shayna gets tagged in. She tries to do her submission style on Asuka, but Asuka has an answer for it around every turn. Kairi Sane then gets the tag in blind to Shayna, but Shayna quickly gains control of her via her submission style, and tags in Zoey. The Kabuki Warriors both end up on the outside, and Zoey hits a dive on them before the commercial break. We come back to Zoey getting the hot tag. The crowd doesn't care at all for this hot tag, by the way, because here's the problem with this match. the Kabuki Warriors are the heels, and Shayna and Zoey have been acting like heels for weeks. And you put two heels together, and Shayna and Zoey aren't good enough to turn the crowd the way that Judgment Day did last week.
Right.
So, I don't know. So anyway, the crowd kind of goes mild about it, right? For this hot tag. Commentators trying to do a great job to get it over, but it just really isn't believable if you have been watching the past few weeks. Kairi blocks the superplex attempt and hits a double feet stomp on Zoey. Asuka gets a tag in, and Shayna gets another hot tag. Shayna does a barrage of hits, and then Asuka does a barrage of her own. Asuka's barrage looks a lot better, which I was very surprised by because Shayna is a striker. Zoey hits the Z360, and Shayna hits a knee. And Asuka breaks the pin on Kairi. Zoey then does a dive on the outside that misses. Meanwhile, Shayna has Kairi in the Karafuda clutch, and they work around the ring until Dakota grabs Shayna's leg from the outside. Kairi gets the upper hand, and Asuka comes in and holds Shayna while Kairi does the insane elbow. The Kabuki Warriors win via the insane elbow, and the crowd goes mild.
Mid. Straight mid. Like the Midwest.
So, before this match happened, there should have been a face turn. The problem with the face turn with Shayna and Zoey is that
they're not faces.
Well, right now they're not faces, but there's no one for them to turn face against.
Yeah.
The pool in WWE is not that. It's not that deep for the women's tag wrestling.
It can be though. That's the crazy part. It can be. It just. Squirrel Ass wasn't Liv and Nia tag champs once.
I want to say yes, but I can't remember.
If it was a while back. Just it was a random tag team. One of those just out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, let's throw these two together. Let's throw something at the wall, see what sticks.
And back in the day, they did that a lot. They just paired random women together, and they were like, let's hope,
Yeah.
So, and they're still doing that today, which is the crazy thing. So, anyway, my final kind of notes on this was that this was not the right timing for this match for a couple reasons, but most of all, Shayna and Zoey are not a believable face team. I believe that it actually hurts the moment. Are the momentum for the Kabuki Warriors. The biggest problem, though, is that Shayna and Zoey are the only believable threats to the Warriors. They need to build up Alba Fire and Isla Dawn quick.
Yeah.
But again, same problem. And here's the thing. Here is the thing. Everybody blames the booking. And I've said this before. Everyone blames the booking, and it's not always the booking. Shayna and Zoey want to come out and look like badasses, and even with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, they have a heel gimmick. They have a cultist Satanist gimmick. You're not just gonna be good guys randomly, and it be super believable. Our good guy, our good woman, good girl, whatever tag team that we have, those just aren't believable. Natalya, if Natalya had I can't remember her name right now, but Natalya's tag team partner is the wife of the one dude from DIY, Johnny Gargano. She's Johnny Gargano's wife.
I think
my camera's not focusing right. Hold on, let me do this right here. There we go. That's better. So either way, I mean, that might be something, but it's just, I mean, yeah, I guess you could do the dark good guy thing. I guess it's possible. I mean, wrestling is wrestling, right? Everything's a work. So I mean, I guess you could come up with it. But
she's with Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox. Yes. Oh yeah, and that's right. Candice LeRae is Johnny Gargano's wife. So yeah, Tegan Knox is
Tegan Knox.
Tegan
Knox is just Tegan Knox. Yeah, it's random. It was a random tag team from I think from NXT.
But either way, you know, Natalya would be more believable if she had another. If Tegan either stepped up or if she had another different partner. I don't know. It's just they're not pairing correctly. I would like to see Alba Dawn or Alba Fire and Isla Dawn go after the titles though. So hopefully that'll do it be a thing.
I mean, but my thing is, have they ever done like True Hill versus True Hill instead of having a good tag team? You know, they both do dirty stuff to try to win.
I mean, they do it. It's just the fans need someone to cheer for. That's all it is.
I mean,
like Ric Flair. Well, I mean, Ric Flair used to cheat all the time and be a face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, instead of having them try to be the, you know, because it seemed like in that match, instead of them playing heel, they were trying to be a face. Instead of them having them as a face, just have them as heel, and they may get more of a pop from that, because it's like, oh, these are the real bad guys. These are the real heels over here. You know, the Kabuki Warriors are just the Kabuki Warriors or whatever. But it's just a thought.
No, you're right. I mean, something's got to change. So I'm up for whatever could be different. At this point.
Just do something. Something.
So then we're gonna go into our Judgment Day in the back, and Andrade comes up. Rhea says very sensually that she would like to talk business with Andrade. I didn't hear anybody talking about this, but it was very erotic the way that she said that. I don't know. Maybe that's my own personal problem, sensual. But I was like, that's a lot, man. I don't.
I don't think that was sensual. I think that was just that's real. I don't know. You know, she's mommy. I don't know.
I mean,
she's
right.
A sensual
you're right.
person.
So anyway, Andrade says he's a businessman and that he always is interested in talking business. And Rhea says they will talk next week. It's very funny because people keep saying, no one wants to believe that Andrade is going to join the Judgment Day. They all think it's going to end in Dom versus Andrade at WrestleMania or something like that, and I'm like, I think he's joining the Judgment Day. It's just going to be what it is, and I think it's going to cause Priest to leave the Judgment Day.
But I mean, that would be such a weird fit. Who is Andrade to join? What is he? No offense to him, what has he done? Just like JD, what has JD done? If Andrade joins, it'd be just as good as JD joining. There's nothing there.
I mean, you could really say the same about all of them. They really weren't doing anything in Raw until Edge brought them together, and then they went on their own. So I mean, it's kind of like a platform.
That's true, but I mean, that build-up was crazy with Edge, Damian Priest randomly, Rhea Ripley randomly, the Finn Balor coming in and kind of turning and taking over for Edge, but he didn't take over for Edge, which is weird. I just don't see where he would fit in, you know? Yeah. He doesn't have that dark personality to him. For me, it's just me. Cause, you know, even Dom gets booed out the arena, but he still has something dark about him because the way he turned on his father, that's some evil-ish right there. Sure. That's some evil-ish.
Yeah, maybe we're just gonna go the way of the NWO and just keep adding people until until it breaks down.
I will say, I'm a WCW guy. That is one thing I hated about it. NWO, they had somebody new every freaking week, and I'm like, why? Who is this? All right, Scott Steiner's joining. Who else is gonna join?
Everyone just wanted to be in the cool guy club. That's all that really was back then.
But they sucked.
After this, we get a vignette for Shinsuke Nakamura and Brawnson Reed, basically saying why they should win. And yes, I 100% agree with Squirrels. Damian is going to go solo soon. It's going to happen.
I mean, he needs to. He doesn't need the rest of them. He doesn't need Finn. He's got it by himself.
So we're going to move into our R-Truth versus Damian Priest grudge match. It's been coming for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Damian comes out without the Judgment Day animation, which I thought was weird. And then he comes to the ring and he immediately hits a forearm to Truth to get an early upper hand. Truth ends up getting a few licks in of his own, but Priest takes over pretty quickly again. R-Truth gets dumped to the outside, and Gargano and Ciampa come out to cheer Truth on. Priest goes for a razor's edge through the table, and Truth reverses it. And they work until both end up on the floor for a commercial break. We come back to Priest delivering a flatliner to Truth. DIY very, very, very briefly distracts Priest as he goes to the top rope, and Truth hits a... he knocks Priest down to get the upper hand. Truth hits the 5-knuckle shuffle, the Attitude of Judgment in the STF.
From his favorite childhood wrestler, his moveset.
From his favorite childhood wrestler. As the Judgment Day, which is JD and Finn, attack DIY. Truth hits a fantastic dive out to them, but when he gets back in the ring, he gets caught by Priest. And Priest wins via the South of Heaven. Judgment Day then runs roughshod on DIY and Truth as we kind of fade out. After that, we come to Michael Cole saying that Logan Paul has a major announcement on his podcast at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And so you didn't have to watch his garbage. We did. The announcement is that SummerSlam will be hosted at the Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, which is where Logan Paul is from. That's it. Yeah. We're then going to switch to a Becky segment. Becky is in the doctor's area and says she knows she shouldn't be doing this because of WrestleMania season, but she says it's her against the world. And next week, it's going to be her versus Nia in a last woman's standing match. Should be fantastic. I can see a stink face coming.
Why? She doesn't need to do this. All Nia's gonna do is sit on her. She's about to catch an L before WrestleMania.
I think she's gonna beat Nia clean.
Oh no, she definitely is, but she's still gonna catch an L. Stink face, you can't get off.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
That's true.
You don't have to do this.
She ain't gonna smell good from WrestleMania. And yeah, Truth being 52 and doing what he does is crazy. I definitely agree.
We need to see him in a championship match. Put the United States belt on him for a little bit. Give him a month's run. That's all I want to see. Just a month's run.
We need a title that hops around, and Truth needs to have his hands on that title. I mean, he made the 24 title what it was, to be honest.
He did.
So, then we got our Jey Uso segment. Jey comes out to the ring and does his bit as he's, day one-ish or whatever. I'm going to hurt myself. And
I'll do that again.
Pat says that he's yeeted up and that he's yeeting all over himself. Like Michael Cole did last week with the antlers.
The antlers.
Which just about killed me. And then he gets in the ring, and really it's just a quick match lay down. He says, Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania, brother against brother, Uso against Uso, me against me, Lot against Da, whatever it is. He tells his brother to accept the challenge because he's going to knock the yeet out his ass. I hate the yeet thing. I hate it.
The yeet thing is horrible. I'm not gonna lie, his interest is fire because it gets the crowd hype, but yeet can go. It can legitimately go. I won't be mad.
I agree. I 100% agree. Okay, so we get a WWE 2K24 promo. Michael announces the Gauntlet match is next, and we see Gunther we get a Gunther trailer showing his dominance since June 10th, 2022. We then get an interview with Gunther from Jackie Redmond. She says that people are speculating that Gunther is too overconfident, but Gunther says that he is fully focused on his legacy. He says that the Gauntlet match is an affirmation of the hard work that he's put in, and he says to whoever wins the match, good luck. And then we get into our Gauntlet match. It's a 40-minute match.
So long.
Which makes sense. I mean, everybody got their things in. So I'm going to go through it, and we will stop after. I will stop after every pin. That way, if we need to comment, we can comment. How about that? So the Gauntlet match is in this order. I recorded the order that they come out. It's Ricochet, JD McDonough, or McDonut if you don't like him, Brawnson Reed, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Chad Gable. So those are our participants. Ricochet and JD start things off. It's a normal start off. Good move early on was a code breaker that JD used to reverse an over the top rope crossbody. I thought that was really good. That actually led to Ricochet favoring his ribs the rest of that part of the match, which I thought was good selling. The rest of the match, though, really wasn't impressive. JD took the weird position of like a powerhouse, which again was weird. Ricochet didn't get a good amount of offense in. There was a good set where Ricochet starts hitting a few flips and JD counters with knees again, hits a brainbuster for a near fall. Then we work to a standing Spanish fly for a near fall. It was on the heels of a backwards Huracan Rana, which was really impressive. Now that was from Ricochet, and a standing Spanish fly that isn't from the top ropes, that's just standing on the mat, was crazy. We then go to the commercial and come back, excuse me, to them being on the ring apron, fighting back and forth. Ricochet hits a fireman's carry slam onto the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. We have to say that. JD barely makes the 10 count, and as JD slides in, he hits a backflip on him and then does a series of slams for a near fall. They work to the top rope, and Ricochet gets the upper hand to knock JD off, and then hits a shooting star press. Ricochet advances via shooting star press. To be honest, this is the two that I thought were going to start, and the advancement happened exactly how I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, it made sense. Like they're both not saying they're not needed, but they're not a part of any kind of story within that IC title belt. Everybody else kind of has a claim to it, but not those two.
Right. Yeah, I mean, JD was thrown in last minute, and you could tell. And Ricochet was thrown in last minute, and you could tell. It made sense that they started. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Ricochet for a while after this.
I said I didn't see him for a while before this, so where the hell was he at?
I think he was just called up to do a match. That's all it was. Yeah. Entering Sami Zayn, who runs in the ring. I'm sorry. Nope. That's wrong.
Nope.
My notes are messed up. Entering Brawnson Reed.
There you go.
He enters, and Ricochet jumps from the ropes. I mean, he just comes at him. He does not give Brawnson Reed a chance to breathe.
You can't.
Yeah, so he jumps him on the outside, brings him in, drop kicks him out, knocks him out towards the announcer's table, does a dive over the top ropes. Like a spinning dive kind of thing. It looked pretty cool. And like honestly, for like half a second, I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna have him knock off Brawnson too. But they get back in the ring, and Brawnson takes control. Ricochet tries to reverse things here and there, but ultimately Reed just beats the hell out of him and hits the tsunami. 1, 2, 3. Reed advances via the tsunami. Enter Sami Zayn. Really, like I said, I promised I'd stop after each one. Really, it wasn't really a long match with Brawnson and Ricochet.
No. This didn't need to be a long match. We all knew what was coming.
Right. The big guy, the little guy, big guy squashes little guy. Made sense. So enter Sami Zayn, who runs in the ring, but Brawnson maintains control until they go to the outside, where Sami connects with a flip to Reed from the barricade. We go to a commercial break and come back, and Michael says that it's Ramadan and Sami hasn't been able to eat today. So just putting Sami over, basically, is all that is. Just saying, hey, man, not only is he doing this, but he's doing this without food, and he's had a little bit of water kind of thing. They work each other around in the ring. Brawnson hitting big elbows and slams, and Sami using his experience and quickness to survive. That was kind of the story they were telling. They work to the corner, and Brawnson takes him to the top rope for a big Samoan drop. And Sami reverses into a sunset flip powerbomb pin, and Sami advances via that sunset flip powerbomb pin.
Yep.
So that was an actual good one. And then we're going to continue with our rivalry that we had going on, which is Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. Mm-hmm. So Shinsuke comes in, but while he's on his way to the ring, Reed attacks Sami from behind and hits a tsunami on him, leaving him in the ring completely lifeless. Shinsuke rolls into the ring and gets him ready for the Kinshasa, but Sami reverses it into a roll-up pin, which honestly, if it had ended there, I would have thought that was hilarious and I would have been fine.
Really?
Now I would have been like, that's freaking hilarious. But they work to the outside where Shinsuke hits a running side knee to Sami that knocks him over the announcer's table. We go to commercial break where, when we come back, Shinsuke is in control, giving strong style kicks to Sami. Sami works to get the upper hand and hits the blue thunder bomb. And then after Shinsuke knocks out, Sami looks confused. He's never won with that move ever. I don't understand why he was like, I can't believe he kicked out of the blue thunder bomb. I could kick out of it.
It's like, what? He kicked out? What do you mean kicked out? Huh? Every time, Sami. Stop being surprised. It's 2024. Everybody's kicked out of it since 2021. All right? Just stop.
That's what I'm saying. So Shinsuke goes for the Kinshasa. He gets up. They work back up, and they worked when Shinsuke goes for the Kinshasa. Sami counters with a possible exploder, but Shinsuke counters that with a series of kicks. He runs to the corner presumably to set up the Kinshasa another time, but Sami runs behind him to hit the haluva kick. Sami advances with the haluva kick. I thought this was a good way to put the exclamation point on their rivalry.
Yep.
End it in a gauntlet match when Sami was already weakened from going through one other person. Nakamura is more or less an enhancement talent until he gets put into a better feud, so I think this was a really good way to put him over, because whether or not Shinsuke's won matches or not lately, he's a force to be reckoned with. So I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good. It was one of the better matches.
Yep.
I liked it.
Now, here's the thing. Enter Chad Gable. Chad doesn't want to beat Sami while he's down and picks him up and waits until he's ready to go. He does the gentlemanly thing. He could have ended the match right there. Kayfabe-wise, He could have ended the match right there. When Sami gets ready and they get square, Gable immediately goes for a triple suplex, and Sami reverses it at number 3. And then Chad reverses back, picking the ankle and trying to wear Sami Zayn down, which is kind of the story of the rest of the match here. We go to a commercial break and come back with Gable working Sami up for a great superplex that he hit, and then he gets a near fall. They work to another corner, and they work reversals back and forth until Gable hits his moonsault for another near fall. They work back to the center of the ring and start wailing on each other, and Sami goes for a blue thunder bomb, but Gable reverses it, picks the leg, and puts him in another ankle lock, yelling, "I need this more than you, tap out." As Sami makes it to the rope break, Gable goes for he pulls Sami in, goes for a German suplex, but Sami reverses it and gets an exploder into the corner. He goes for the haluva kick, but sells the ankle as he's running, and Gable grabs him into another ankle lock. Chad works the ankle for about a full minute, and the fans want Gable to win at this point. They are rallying behind Gable when they see Zayn about to tap out. Again, in my head, it wasn't about Sami getting up; it was about Sami tapping out. They started to believe that Chad was going to win, and I think the crowd was getting hyped for it. Gable then pulls the ankle again into a German, goes for the moonsault and misses. Sami then hits a weak haluva kick for a near fall that Gable reverses into another pin for a near fall. Both men are on the ground punching each other as Chad goes back to his roots and goes around for a back waistlock. He clubs Sami Zayn 3 or 4 times, then hits the Chaos Theory for a near fall. Gable then rolls around, gets him in the ankle lock again, and right before Sami's about to tap out, Sami Zayn wins via a roll-up.
Yep.
And that is your winner.
Let's take a deep breath before we get into it.
Well, Chad picks up Sami and they embrace, congratulating each other for a good match. And then Gunther comes out and stares Sami as we go off air. Let's talk about it, man. I'm going to let you go first.
It would have just been so much better if Chad Gable went over. If Gable would have went over, I like Sami Zayn, and part of me knew he was gonna get he was gonna go to WrestleMania because, you know, if you mention, hey, I'm going to WrestleMania, I must do it. It is a need. He said this a month ago. He's going to WrestleMania. Unfortunately, it had to be at the expense of Chad Gable. Chad Gable versus Gunther would have made more sense of a match. A technical, strategic, back and forth ring wrestling match. Again, I'm happy Sami's going to WrestleMania, but I feel that Gable was slighted. Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'll just read my notes. My notes are this: Sami went over Gable in a roll up, which in my opinion is the wrong choice. Should have been Gable going to Mania, but I understand why they chose Sami. Sami also won the way that he won because I think Triple H knows like that the hype for Gable, and that it plays into Sami's character overall, like his overall character arc. Mm-hmm. I just hope that we see great things from Chad in the future. Chad looked strong as hell in this match, and while I don't agree with the decision, if it had to go another way, it should have gone the way for Sami. If it had to go another way, it didn't have to go that way, but it did. So yeah. The thing is that Sami should have put an exclamation point on it. He should have gone for the haluva kick. Mm-hmm. I'm sure the night before, or the Raw before WrestleMania, Sami will put an exclamation on him going to WrestleMania for the match. But it was a weak way to win. But again, when I'm talking about his character arc, what I mean is like Sami's whole spiel, his whole gimmick is kind of like what Sting's gimmick was a little bit back in the day. Mm-hmm. And that's, I'll get the hell kicked out of me, and then I come back and I figure out a way to squeak out the win.
Yep.
And Sami squeaked out the win by using his opponent's momentum against him and using a roll-up, using a pin. Which is resourceful, which is the things that Gunther does. Gunther is resourceful. So again, I can see the whole story unfolding and writing itself. Mm-hmm. I get it. Chad is an actual he's a wrestler's wrestler. He has the look,
background.
Yeah, like he's all of that stuff. So yeah, I just really wanted to see Chad go over. But as far as Sami doing it, Sami's going to sell more tickets arguably, so that's fine.
Right at the moment, I mean, you look at the following that Chad has. You heard the crowd when he had him in the ankle lock.
Yeah.
You know what they wanted. The universe knows what it wants. As far as Sami, I think you're right. The haluva kick would have put an exclamation point on it, but I think they're building Sami as the little engine that could.
Yeah.
You know, he's the one that, you know, I'm getting my ass beat day in and day out, but damn it, I'm gonna make it somehow. and that's what I'm seeing. So I'm thinking maybe, and if he doesn't put an exclamation point before Mania, either he's gonna lose or he's gonna have a weak victory against Gunther.
What I see is if Chad can keep his momentum, I see Sami going over Gunther and Sami going back against each other in Backlash, and then we work a program where Chad ends up winning at SummerSlam. That's what I see. At least that's what I hope I get.
I know. I still prefer to see Chad versus Gunther in the program. I'd rather see that. Yeah, but I don't want to wait.
Ain't going anywhere if he loses the title. I promise you that.
I know. I'm selfish though. Just give me what I want, you know.
All wrestling fans are selfish, man. I get it. So our matches for next week and the things going on: tag team qualifying matches, Alpha Academy versus the New Day, DIY versus the Creed Brothers, and the Awesome Truth versus Indus Shaha. My predictions, I'll say them right now, is going to be New Day, DIY, and the Awesome Truth.
New Day, DIY, and Awesome Truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those are going to be your three from Raw. That's what I'm thinking. You have your last woman standing match, Becky Lynch and Nia Jax, and then CM Punk returns in 2 weeks to be in his hometown of Chicago, because of course he does.
Chicago. He's not missing that.
G, who do you think is going to win in the tag matches?
I don't even know. Wait, you talking about the men's, right?
Yeah, so you have Alpha Academy versus the New Day. Who do you think goes over there?
New Day goes over that.
And DIY versus the Creed Brothers?
Probably DIY, just because they've had programs but I don't know. I feel like they need to push one of these teams, just throw a random team in there. Because it's always one random team that's like, oh, we don't belong here, but we're here.
True.
I'll still say DIY just because they still have a program.
And then we have the Awesome Truth versus Indus Sheer.
Who is Indus Sheer? Who is that?
I think they're Samoans.
Really?
Yeah, not really sure.
Awesome Truth is going over. Yeah, that's easy. I don't know who, unless that's the random team they're throwing in there. Indus Sheer. Who's this?
Fair enough.